Hello students, let's read this question. Draw the graphs for the following tables of values with suitable scales on the axis. So for A, cost of apples, number of apples are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and cost of one apple is 5, cost of two apple is 10, cost of three apple is 15, cost of four apple is 20, and cost of five apple is 25. So we have to plot a graph using this data. So for A, we have plot a graph using the given data where on x-axis we have number of apples and on y-axis we have cost in rupees. Now move on to the second part, which is distance traveled by a car. Here we have given the time in hours as 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m. and 9 a.m. and we have parallel distance in kilometer, which are 40, 80, 120 and 160. So let's first plot the graph. So this is the graph where in x-axis we have time in hours and in y-axis we have distance in kilometer in part B. So in part B we have two more questions, which are how much distance did the car cover during the period of 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. So as we can see, from 7 to 7:30 a.m. from 7 to 7:30 a.m. it travels around this much distance, which is from 80 to 100 kilometer, it is 20 kilometers. So we can simply write that the car covered a distance of 20 kilometer, as 100 kilometer minus 80 kilometer will give us 20 kilometer. Now move on to the second part, which is what was the time when the car had covered a distance of 100 kilometers since its start. So at the 100 kilometer, car is at the time of 7:30 a.m. So we can simply write that it was 7:30 a.m. when it covered a distance of 100 kilometer. Now move on to the C part, which is interest on deposits for a year. Here we have given deposits in rupees and simple interest in rupees. In deposit in rupees, we have 1000, 2000, 3000, 4000 and 5000, and simple interest will be 80, 160, 240, 320 and 400. So let's first plot the graph for part C. So we have plotted the graph for part C. Here at x-axis we have deposit in rupees and in y-axis we have simple interest in rupees. Now in part first we have, it is asking does the graph pass through the origin. So as we can see, the graph passes through the origin. That means we can say that for part first of C, yes, the graph passes through the origin. Move on to the second part, which is use the graph to find the interest on 2500 rupees for a year. So for 2500 rupees, which is here, the simple interest will be 200. So we can write that interest on deposit of rupees 2500 is rupees 200 for a year. Now move on to the third part, that is to get an interest of 280 per year, how much money should be deposited? So at 280, which would be something like here, we can say that it would be around middle of 3000 and 4000, which is nothing but 3500. So this way we can say that rupees 3500 should be deposited for the interest of rupees 280. So we have answered for all of the following parts A, B, and C and their subparts. Hope you understand it well. Thank you.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.